Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Kids Fishing TV. It's Max here, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to make a lure that catches fish. And I remember when I first started making lures a few years back, I tried to watch videos to help me make them, but all the videos that I watched seemed to have a lathe or some type of tool that I didn't have. So today we're going to be making a lure that pretty much everybody can make. It is going to be really labor intensive. Some of the bigger lures can take up to 16 hours of manually sanding and stuff. It takes days. Today I'm going to be making a medium-sized bait. It's really narrow, but it's pretty long. So this should hopefully take, I'm guessing, 2 or 3 hours. I mean, the ones that take the 16 hours are like the jointed swim baits, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start making the lure. But before I do that, I want to show you guys some of the supplies you're going to want. You're going to want some wood. What I like to use is pine, and I use the dried wood for fires. This is just kindling wood. And the reason why I use it is because since it's really dried for fire, to catch fire easy, you know, the more dry it is, the more buoyant it is. And you want to make sure when you're making a topwater lure or suspending crankbait that it's not waterlogged wood. And that's why I don't like to get wood from, your backyard. You can do that. You can go out and get a stick from, out in the woods. But you don't know the integrity of the wood. It could break easy. And you don't know how buoyant it's going to be because it could be waterlogged. So here's a piece of the wood right here. You can get a whole pack that could make over 100 lures for like $6 or $5. So it's really good. Also, the second reason why I like it is because the wood is very soft, so it's really easy to shape and sand and, cut with. It's really easy. So the things you're going to need, you're going to want the wood. You're going to want a measuring tape, just so you can measure out the lure. You're going to want some wood filler, wood putty. You don't really need that. I just started using it, and I found that using it really does give you a much better, a much better lure in the long run. You're gonna want two things of syringes, two syringes, or you can use like clamps. These syringes, they're just like teeny pliers. You close them up and they lock, and you use those to help paint. I'll show you that in a little bit. You want a coarse grit of sandpaper, a fine grit of sandpaper. You're going to want something this has a little bit of dry stuff on it. You're going to want something that you can just smooth the wood putty out on the lure with. It doesn't really have to be anything like that. An optional thing is a big saw with one of these things. I don't even know what that's called. I never really use it though. And you're also going to need a drill, and if you don't have a normal drill, you can just use a handheld drill, which you just push down, you go like that, and it drills a hole. You just put it on the bit. You don't need too big of a bit. You don't even need the drill. The only time you're going to want the drill is if you're going to be adding weights inside of the lure, or if you're going to be making a popper. But in this case scenario, you don't really need it, but it's a good thing to have just in case, you want to countersink the eyes or anything. It's up to you. Another thing that's pretty helpful in the process of making a homemade lure is pliers. That's pretty much something that you don't ever need pretty much. It's just always there. If you're going to pick it up a few times. It's not a necessity, but, it's a good thing to have, screw stuff in. And then the last two things you're going to need are a small little saw, so you can, cut it. Generally, ones that are flexy are better to use when making a smaller lure. So you're going to want a smaller lure like that. You can pick those up pretty cheap, and that's like $8. That's a high-end one. And then you're going to want some epoxy or some like gloss varnish, and that just provides the shine and it protects the wood from getting waterlogged, and that's pretty much it. Epoxy is better off because it doesn't let the wood get dented, but for the lures that I make for myself, I just use the gloss varnish because you can do 3 coats of it in 30 minutes. You just apply it every 10 minutes, and it's just easier to put on because the epoxy, you know, it dries so quick. You have to be quick, and, you know, I just really like the varnish when I'm doing my own lures because I don't really care if they get banged up. And then the last thing that you're going to want, you don't even need this, is a lure that you want to be replicating. So today I'm going to be making something like this. I'm going to be making one of these big Rapala lures, the F something, I don't know what model this is. And then you're going to want a Sharpie or a pen. You're going to hold the lure up to the piece of wood, and you're going to draw out the lure. And so that's the first step what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that, and then I'll get back to you. We're just making that hole right there. We're gonna put the weight in, and then we're gonna fill it with wood putty and sand it. All right, so the lure's pretty much done drying from the wood filling. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run over it with a hair dryer before I start sanding it with the fine grit. And then after that, we're gonna start painting. We're gonna make the bill. As you can see, this lure's gonna come out pretty awesome. It's got the rattle. It's pretty cool. Alright, so I just ran over it with the dryer just to make sure it was dry. I normally don't do that, but it's ready to sand now. Got our fine grit sandpaper. And just begin to, I like to fold it. Alright, so now that we have our sanding done, you put on an eye in the front. Get your syringes, clamp it in, and then you take it into the woods or away from your house. You spray paint primer. I used the gray primer, so first primer. Alright, second coat of primer's on. Wait a few minutes and we'll do the paint. As you can see, there may be a little bit of a weird texture to it. But that will get covered by the lacquer when we paint it with the lacquer. Alright, so now that you have your primer on and dried, we're going to start to paint. What you're going to want to do for the paint is put the lighter colors on the bottom and the darker colors on the top. And that will make it look more realistic and catch more fish. So first you're going to want to paint it, and then I'll teach you how to put on a scale pattern to it. Alright, so here's the lure. I painted it to how I wanted. Can't really see, it's got the yellow bottom and the green and khaki sides. It looks really nice. And now we're ready to apply the top. I suggest that when you put on the scales, you put on gloves, latex gloves. That's just a suggestion because you're going to paint your hand. So what you do is you get something that has a mesh. You can use any different size of mesh. You can use a screen for smaller mesh, like a piece of screen, or you could use like a net for larger. I'm going to use the screen. Basically what you do is you hold the screen up to it, you paint through it. And you're going to want to do that to the top. Alright, so I have my glove on, and this is the material I'm going to be using today. This is it's basically the size of what you have on a screen door, so you can use that. But just to let you know exactly what it is, it's a lot of your moms probably have it. It's just that stuff that comes on gifts. You like go like that and you tie it or something around like a bag, goodie bags or something. They usually have it. Get that. Get your lure. Wrap it over the top tight. See. You're going to want to pull it tight, make sure your lure's dry or it's going to screw the paint up. That's why I'm waiting a little bit. And then you're going to want to make sure you mist it, especially with this light type of screen. If you don't mist your paint, you're just going to do it so heavy, it's just going to seep right through it. So do light mists. Alright, so now I've got the scaled top. It's hard to see. I got the tan sides and the yellow bottom. It's an awesome looking lure, guys. Now we're going to put on our lacquer and our hooks and we'll be done. Alright, we have the paint job done. I don't know what's not focusing. See if I can get it to focus. I don't know, but it's got an awesome scale texture to it. Now we're going to apply our varnish. So we just use a little paintbrush and we just paint it on, let it dry, and while we let it dry, we're going to start making the bill. Alrighty, so now that the epoxy or varnish is drying on the lure for the first coat, we're going to do 3 coats. We're ready to construct the bill for the crankbait. Now, there's many materials you can make the bill out of. You can make it out of, this is my favorite material to use. This is just like the extra filling pieces of old tackle boxes, which a lot of you guys probably have, because if you fish, you'll probably have these extra pieces of the tackle box. They're dividers. You also can use old credit cards, old iTunes gift cards, old school IDs, any thick or durable thin plastic. This is pretty thick, and that's why I like it, because it's one of the most durable. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to get this bill, you can model it, and I'm going to see where it goes to. So it goes to about there. So now I'm gonna get my scissors. My finger's still where it was. How about there? And I'm gonna just put a little slit right there. Alright, so we have our bill constructed. It's modeled after that. Now what you're gonna want to do is just sand the sides and then take a lighter to it. And what the lighter will do is, you don't want to set it on fire, but you just want to round the edges a little bit. And then we'll put a few more coats of epoxy on it, and then we'll check on it. We'll see if it's dry. Then we can pop the bill in with a little bit of crazy glue, install the hardware, and all will be done. While the epoxy dries, I'll be enjoying a nice Diet Coke, chilling back and relaxing, and the lure's looking great. I mean, it doesn't look too good on camera, but you gotta see it in person. It looks just like this lure right here that I was resembling it after, but it looks even better because it's wider, it's shorter, it looks sweet. And it has better paint job than this, believe it or not. It looks more realistic. The lure right here. Once again, bad sunlighting, you can't even see the paint on it. But honestly, you can look really hard. Let me go to the back side of this. And you cannot find where I drilled the hole because the wood putty just fills it so well. It still has a rattle inside. It's coming out awesome, guys. So realistic. Alright, so my lure's right there drying. Created the bill, put the bill in, put the eyes and stuff in. Now we're ready to fish. So go catch some fish, guys.